What is going on, everyone? This is Ninja Geek here, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to have a real deep discussion about Call of Duty World War II and Modern Warfare Remastered. And what kind of really brought me to make this sort of video is because of Thunder's newest video, which is going back to Modern Warfare Remastered using the P90 with the Juggernaut, and he made me want to go back and play Modern Warfare Remastered again. And for the record, I know that Modern Warfare Remastered has some people angry about it, or it's not really their cup of tea. In other words, like, people have been excited when it was first announced way back when, and now it's just sort of like swept under the rug. But I always loved Modern Warfare Remastered from the time that it was announced and when the game actually fully came out. I loved playing it, and it only got better and better. And the reason why I basically stopped playing it is just because of the lack of content, essentially. But other than that, I never really disliked Modern Warfare Remastered, and here we are with World War II, and we're sort of experiencing the problems that game has. And, you know, with Thunder's newest video, he kind of like shed the light on going back and playing Modern Warfare Remastered, and it's really not as bad as some people think it out to be. Or he basically explained how, you know, if you're tired of World War II playing some garbage maps and garbage streaks, you can hop over on MW Remastered and have some fun. You know, and I don't think it's a game that's going to last forever, but, you know, I think that you can still have a lot of fun on it. And so, at the end of the video, I'm going to explain my thoughts on which one I personally like better. Now, I know that I did my countdown to the worst Call of Duty series, and in that video, I did rank Modern Warfare Remastered and obviously Call of Duty 4 combined with that way ahead of Call of Duty World War II. But so it kind of has to do with the same precedents, but it's I'm basically specifically talking about Modern Warfare Remastered here because there obviously are new things added into that game. So we have some MWR gameplay here. This is some older gameplay and nothing that I got recently, but I had this on my hard drive and I figured, you know, we haven't had an MWR gameplay go up in a really long time, probably. So here it is. So anyways, I decided then to write down 3 things. Now, there obviously are more than 3 things, but I wanted to really get across 3 things that I like about both games, that one game does better than the other one, to kind of give my opinions. So I'm going to start off with things about World War II here, because since it's the newest Call of Duty, I kind of want to compare it to it and then go back to MWR. So the 3 things that I like about World War II that MWR does not have is the supply drop system. Now, we could go on and talk for days about the supply drop system in Call of Duty as a whole, and the supply drop system in both Call of Duty games here in World War II and in Modern Warfare Remastered. But basically the premise is that World War II just simply has an easier, clean supply drop system. And, you know, unfortunately, there are supply drops in both games, and I would not like to have supply drops in both games, but, you know, we cannot go forward with that because they're in the game already, and they're probably going to be in every Call of Duty from now until the future. We don't know what's going to happen with that, but for now, World War II and MWR both have supply drops, and unfortunately, MWR's system isn't really that good. Now, comparatively to Black Ops 3, if we were to compare Modern Warfare Remastered supply drop system to the Black Ops 3 Black Market supply drop system, Modern Warfare Remastered wins hands down. But compared to the World War II system, it's gotten better in World War II, and in MWR, it's definitely nowhere near there. So I'll basically give an example. In World War II, I can grind contracts, I can play the game regularly and level up, or I can do lots of different things in the headquarters and daily orders and so on and so forth to be able to get supply drops. And typically on a daily basis, if I play the game maybe like 2 hours or 3 hours a day, I end up with about 5 to 10 supply drops a day. Now, 10's on the high side, 5 is merely normally where I end up. With Modern Warfare Remastered, if I played that same amount per day, or even more per day, I usually only end up with 1 supply drop, and that's just because of how the depot credits work in that game, that you need to have a certain amount to unlock. And when I mean supply drops, I'm talking about the rare ones, because the regular common supply drops, especially in Black Ops 3 as well as MWR, are not that good. So we go for the rare ones, and the rare ones cost 30 depot credits, and it takes forever. It takes so long, like about 2 hours. I think I calculated it out to one time. It takes about 2 hours to get at least 30 depot credits, and probably even more than that. That's if you like start at a low amount, not even at 0. So, you know, it's really frustrating in Modern Warfare Remastered, but the difference in Modern Warfare Remastered is that the weapons just seem like they're easier to come by, maybe, I don't know. But overall, as a whole, earning supply drops in World War II seems easier, and just getting the new weapons seems easier in World War II than it did in Modern Warfare Remastered, and so I do have to say that I like World War II's supply drop system a lot more, but you can let me know your thoughts down below. Maybe you dislike it and you actually like the Modern Warfare Remastered version, but like I said again, World War II definitely did that better in my opinion. The next thing that I like about World War II is that there is more new free content, and it happens more often. In Modern Warfare Remastered, we've only really seen a few event type things, and the events really started in Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered, and they've sort of moved along into Call of Duty World War II, and we're even supposed to be getting a lot more events in Black Ops 4 as a result of people liking the free content and the free updates and events. But the free events that were in Modern Warfare Remastered were few and far between. I know that one of the biggest ones was Days of Summer. They added in Prop Hunt, they added in a lot of different game modes and stuff. But right now, as of this date, Modern Warfare Remastered doesn't really have any new content to look forward to. It's not really being updated alongside World War II or next to World War II or even separately. It's just not at that point. I think they just realized maybe Raven is working on something else, hint hint maybe MW2 Remastered, but they've also confirmed that maybe they're not doing that. Who knows what Raven is doing, but all we know right now is that they're not working on Modern Warfare Remastered. So the game is good, but it's not really getting the free updates that like World War II is getting. So World War II and Sledgehammer, even though I disagree with some things that they've done and lots of things that they've done in the past and still to this day that they have with World War II, the updates keep the game very fresh, and it just keeps me playing the game more overall. And the third big thing about World War II that I have to say is that my friends all have World War II. So when I hop on and it's like, oh, do you want to play? Yeah, let's play some World War II. I'm more inclined to play World War II versus none of my friends have Modern Warfare Remastered. And the whole reason I think to that is because it was bundled with Infinite Warfare at the start. And then when it became available for a single purchase, I think 6 months, probably more than that later, it just lost interest because people had a distaste in their mouth from not getting a single copy of Modern Warfare Remastered. They had to buy the bundle, and plus the fact that in 6 months the player base is probably going to be dwindling, so people thought, I don't know if it's really worth getting Modern Warfare Remastered now. But nonetheless, Modern Warfare Remastered is not played that much, and amongst my friends, I'm the only one that has it, I believe. So we always end up playing World War II, and that's really a main thing that I have to give to World War II, is that my friends have it, so I guess I play it more in that sense. Now, let's move over to MWR. The very first thing that I have to say about Modern Warfare Remastered is that the time to kill is much better, and I guess better is an opinion here, because let me explain. I like the short time to kills like the Modern Warfare series has, and I also like the long time to kills like the Black Ops series has. But World War II to me feels inconsistent, and that's the best word to describe it. And I know I've dug deep on this topic in previous videos, but World War II's time to kill, it could be very, very long at times, and it could be moderate at times, but sometimes it just seems like I get dropped really quick, and other times it feels like I'm putting 10 plus bullets into enemies and they're not dying. So overall, the World War II time to kill just feels so inconsistent, and that is really the number one thing that aggravates me about World War II. If Condry from Sledgehammer games of prior, because he's not with them anymore, but back in the day, you know, when World War II launched, if they were to ask me, what is the worst thing about World War II? I would say time to kill. And if Aaron Halan came to me right now, the new leader of Sledgehammer Games, and said, you know, we're still working on these updates, what is the number one thing that you would like to see changed? My answer would still be time to kill. It is too inconsistent. And Modern Warfare Remastered has a great time to kill. Now, it is fast, so sometimes you could be dropped very fast, but I would much rather have a fast time to kill where you're drop fast and kill fast than a moderate to very, very slow time to kill, or an inconsistent time to kill, I'll say, because Treyarch has slow time to kills, but they just seem more consistent. Like, I am putting enough bullets and I'm dying slow enough to where it makes sense, whereas in Sledgehammer's World War II, it just feels inconsistent with one another, like I'm dying too fast, but then I can't really kill people, and it's aggravating to me. So yeah, that's the number one thing about Modern Warfare Remastered. Number two is Modern Warfare Remastered has better maps than World War II, it has more powerful streaks, and it has more iconic weapons. Now, World War II has some great weapons, of course, like the Volkssturmgewehr is one of my favorites. I like using the SAP is probably one of the best pistols. I recently just got the Enfield revolver as the Repeller 2, you know, and it's fun also in that game going for the higher variants of weapons that are just cosmetic changes only, as a matter of fact, you know, because sometimes people just don't like to go straight for the weapons, they like to get the higher variant, and as long as it's not a stat-changing variant, it's okay in my book. But, yeah, going back to point number two, Modern Warfare Remastered just has better maps, and the maps came from, obviously, CoD 4, since it is a remaster, and even though these maps weren't the best in design, like some people would argue that Wetwork is a terrible map, and, you know, I don't think it's the best of maps, but I think it's a quirky design, and it's a cool design, and I don't think that there's a huge problem with specifically with that map, and yeah, I do have problems with some maps in Modern Warfare Remastered, but overall, I think that the map design better fit Modern Warfare Remastered, and it was just the maps in general were just a lot better compared to the maps that are in World War II right now. None of the standard maps, excluding DLC, because I have not played on DLC maps besides Shipment, which comes from CoD 4 ironically, but it just has better maps. More powerful streaks. So World War II, and I decided to combine these three things into one because just in general the things within Modern Warfare Remastered are just better in my opinion, so we'll get into that with the powerful streaks. Even though World War II has more streaks, as in more customizable streaks that you can choose from, Modern Warfare Remastered has more powerful streaks. The UAV is so much more powerful than in World War II, right? Because the UAV in Modern Warfare Remastered, the minimap is so great, it's perfect, I think, in my opinion. It's a nice square, you call it in, you can see people, it works just like a regular UAV, whereas in World War II, the minimap's kind of nerfed from prior games, and it's round, which I don't like that design, and when you call it in, you can't really see people far away, whereas in Modern Warfare Remastered, the UAV works like it always has. The Airstrike is also very powerful, and it helps get you to your chopper, which the chopper goes in, it targets the number one player on the other team. It's an excellent system, and it's just like the chopper just works. But in World War II, I feel like none of the lethal streaks really put in a lot of work. Paratroopers just kind of are boring and don't really do much of anything, and the streaks don't really lead on to much of anything after you achieve them. So I just don't really feel like there's a high factor with the streaks, and they just don't really do as much as the Modern Warfare Remastered streaks. And Modern Warfare Remastered has iconic weapons, like the M48-3 Sniper, of course, the M16, the overpowered M16, and the MP5, the great AK-47, the P90, I can go on. Whereas World War II, yeah, it has some great weapons, like I mentioned with the Volkssturmgewehr, and I recently just got the Repeller 2, and they have different high variants of it that are really fun to go for with the heroics, and but the problem is that Modern Warfare Remastered just has more iconic weapons that more people are attuned to, versus with World War II, it's just kind of like new free content. So I feel like the weaponry in Modern Warfare Remastered is better in that part. And moving on to my final point about Modern Warfare Remastered is that it's simplistic yet satisfying. And when I basically go on Modern Warfare Remastered, I'm having a fun time, calling in the simple streaks, just running around the map, having fun. And even though both games have head glitching problems, and both games have some sort of supply drops in it, and both games both have their problems, definitely, But I feel overall in the end that Modern Warfare Remastered is a better game, and it just seems to me the only reason why I don't play it is because my friends don't play it. But if they really regularly supported this game and my friends had it, I would play it so much more. But I think I am going to start playing it a little bit more here and there now, because I do realize that it is a fun game, and I think it's good enough to take a break from World War II from time to time, especially since Black Ops 4 is coming out, and especially since Red Dead 2 is coming out, and all these awesome games are coming out in October. I feel like it's time to sort of, put World War II on the back burner, play it here and there, but I feel like mixing in other Call of Duty games like Modern Warfare Remastered are great as well. Obviously, I'm not going to mix in games that I don't really necessarily like, sort of like Infinite Warfare. I did try and get back into that a few months ago, but it's not really my game. I understand that people do like it, but it's just not my cup of tea. Not really impressed with that. But anyways, that's the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts. Do you like World War II more or Modern Warfare Remastered more? For me, I like Modern Warfare Remastered, and really, ultimately, when it comes down to it, I think Modern Warfare Remastered is a better game, but I don't play it as much, like I said, just because my friends don't have it and there's not really new, fresh content that comes to it. But if it's the number one choice, deciding factor that helps me decide which game specifically is better, forgetting about friends having it or forgetting about everything else in the game, it really comes down to the time to kill, and Modern Warfare Remastered is just more consistent in that department. So there you have it. That's my answer, and I will definitely see you on the next one, but let me know your thoughts down below. This is Ninja Geek. I'm out. And peace.